with a spiritual knowing that is foreign to a lot of people around us, it sometimes can cause us to feel like there's something wrong with us for being us when there's not. I'm not gonna get into the whole thing like, oh, we're children of God, be separate, because that's not where this direction of this conversation is going. But it's more so like, when people don't treat you or handle you like you would treat them or handle them, it's not a reflection of you. It's a reflection of them. Just because they can't handle your greatness or handle the calling that God has on your life, or the calling that you have to be in their life at that time, just because they can't receive it, it doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with you. God in this season really want us to learn how to trust him in spite of all. Learn how to trust him with our relationships, with our friendships, with everything. The Lord, I don't know what's going on with the algorithm right now, family, but I know that's not true about 12 people being on here. I know that's not true at all, but it's okay. I know that. And I know that God is constantly talking to me about relationships and making sure that I am comfortable enough in my skin and in every relationship around me, that if disappointment does show up, that I am secure. Disappointments come. Disappointments will show up. But you have to be positioned with him and seeking him, and with him to know that when disappointments come, that it was not you. Disappointments will come. Letdowns will come. Shockers will come. Disbelief will come, but that doesn't mean that there's something wrong with you. And we have to make sure that we have the right coping skills to deal with disappointments. We have to make sure that we have the right coping skills to deal with when things don't seem to go our way. We have to have the right coping skills. In a lot of ways, and many other ways that I learned to cope with situations and relationships and friendships in the past, was I would just totally disconnect myself, or I would get offended and think that they're wrong, or there's something wrong with me, or I would blame them and remain frustrated at them. But what I do now is I just simply say to myself, God must be protecting me from something, or that relationship just wasn't for me. Just because you meet a great person, they're an amazing person, or a group of people, it doesn't mean that you fit into that group, or you need to be around that group, or get situated and comfortable in that group. It may have just been a good time. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet some other great people. And I'm on my way to this event called Coffee in Christ. I'm going here not with the expectation to meet people, but I'm going here with the expectation to meet Christ in a different way, to see God in a different way through the lens of the individual who's hosting the event. So that saves me from being disappointed if I go there with the expectation to meet people or XYZ, that if it doesn't happen the way that I wanted it to happen in my mind, that I know that there's nothing wrong with me. It's just that it wasn't meant to happen, or it's going to be how God wanted it to be. And in a lot of our relationships, especially relationships, and we talk about kingdom marriage and different things like that, you don't want to go in and thinking that you know what that person is thinking, and thinking that you know what that person is expecting, or thinking that you know what they want or what their needs are. You have to hang around people to get an understanding of what their needs are. You have to learn people to understand what their needs are, and what they're doing and what they're up to. You got to know if they have children, if they have a life outside of you, what is going on exactly in this person's heart, and get to know them, so that you're not assuming that they're doing something that they're totally not. Assumptions cause a lot of disappointments. I'm sorry, guys. I don't know why I can't see the chat. It's so weird, but that's YouTube for you. That the disappointments come when you have these assumptions about the situation, about this person, and you're just assuming that they meant this and they meant that, when you really don't know what people meant, because you haven't studied them, you haven't really been around them, or spent enough time to be able to say this is exactly what they meant. And I mention that a lot here on the channel. People assume that I mean certain things that I say one way and I meant it a totally another way, and they accuse me of different things like that. And assumptions assumptions is a killer. If you're always assuming that your husband's cheating or your wife's cheating, if you're always assuming that they're up to something, or like I always say, we're pastors, preachers, and leaders, always assuming that pastors, leaders, and teachers are fake, or they're this and that and third, you're going to miss out on your blessing. You can't always assume that people are one way. You don't know. You got to trust God with that relationship. You got to trust God with that friendship. You got to trust God with it, and just know that God will not steer you wrong, that he won't allow anyone to hurt you, and that you're going to be okay in all the relationships that you step into in this season of your life, because God is very serious about this season of our life, and he just don't want us hanging around and being around anyone. So when he removes people, we just got to let him remove people when he want to do what he want to do. But I think that we have to stop assuming and stop thinking that we know when we really don't know, and just take things to God and not run people away. I think that it's a time to reflect and spend a little time with ourselves. I think a lot of times we spend so much time wondering what other people are thinking, or worry about our kingdom spouses and marriage and love and our children and things of that nature, that we totally forget about ourselves, and we beat ourselves up, and we put ourselves in awkward situations where we're people pleasing and trying to get the attention of people and acceptance of people, when God is saying, okay, let me work out that relationship, let me work on it, I'll do it, you don't have to. And it gets us out of these high expectations, and gets us out of these infatuations of how we want the situation to be. And it gets us to a place where, okay, God, I'm seeking you, I'm standing with you, I'm believing with you, I'm longing for you to fulfill this thing, and bring this relationship to be what it's called to be, without me being in idolatry, without me being in infatuation, without me being in lust, without me being in a disappointment and discouragement when it goes left. So I really think this is a great time for us to reflect on the relationships around us, and how we must trust God to bring these relationships about, and just kind of spend that time with him and with ourselves, just getting to know ourselves in this new season, getting to know who we are in this new season of our lives, and really seeing what God has for us as an individual, personally, what God has for you, before you can give yourself to someone else. Give yourself something, give yourself that love, and that commitment, and that persistence and consistency to yourself, so that you don't look desperate, so that you don't look like you're striving for something that God is going to take care of and give you anyway. So I hope that this chat helped you guys. I know it was short, but I just really wanted to get on here and encourage you, and have a little Saturday morning chit chat with you, and let you know that God says that you don't have to worry about your friendships and relationships and how people do you dirty. And I have groups of people all the time. People love the idea of you, but when you give them you, they can't handle it, or they see, she's this, she's that, and then when you hang out with them and they realize that you're not perfect, and they can't get what they want to get from you, or they want to just use up all your oil. It's nothing worse than talking to someone and you giving them advice and they never have advice for you. It's so draining to have friends that have nothing to offer you. It's very draining, and when you just want to be yourself around people, but they're too busy putting you in a position where you have to play doctor or nurse, or they don't understand that we all are humans, and we're all humans, and we all want to be loved. But we have to have this respect for ourselves that says that I'm not going to put myself in a situation where I'm going to let you constantly disappoint me. I'm not going to put myself in a situation where I have to assume every move that you're making. I'm going to stay away until your moves make sense. If you're moving in a crafty way, if you're moving in a malicious, funny acting way, I'm going to distance myself, because I'm not putting myself around nobody that move funny. I'm not putting myself around. I don't like, phony talk, and you phony, you pretending with me, like ab libs in your voice, like, hey girl, I love you, all that phony stuff. Like, no, don't be phony with me, because I'm going to see right through it. I always say, let me see your works. Let me see that you love me. Let me see, you know, when I'm talking with people about work and stuff like that, show me the work. Don't tell me, oh, I'm gonna get the work done. Show me the work. And that's how I am in relationships too. Show me you love me. Don't tell me that you love me. I know when people love me. I have people that love me. So when somebody around me pretending that they love me, I'm gonna know that you really don't. And you know, people simply see what we have, and God spoils us, and he loves us, and he takes good care of us, and he gives us a lot of information and directions and guidance that the world don't get, because they don't spend time with him. They don't want him. They don't, you know, put the work in. You know what I mean? Like I always say, people see you at your best, at the, you know, tip top shape, but they don't see you when you and God is in that prayer closet crying, you know, for 30 minutes. They don't see that stuff. So, you know, they only see, you know, you and your presentation. They see you in your presentation, and you know, they can't handle it, or you know, or they don't like it, or they hating on you. And it's like, you hating on me and you jealous of me, but you don't even know the hell that I had to go through to even be at this round table with you. You know what I mean? So when we're looking at relationships and we're getting into relationships, my advice this morning would definitely be to not have too high of expectations of people, but go into the relationship just genuinely wanting to get to know the person. If God will have a relationship for you and that person, he'll have that. If you're standing for a kingdom marriage or a marriage of any you know, whether you know the person or not, just go into it not assuming that you know what type of person this is. What you assuming that you know who they are and what they're up to, because they may be up to loving you, and you think that they're trying to reject you. So I love you, family. I'm about to go into this event, and I'll be praying for you guys in here, and I love you. And I'll see you on the next live. Sign up for the Healing Circle tomorrow. Everything that you need to know is in the description box below. And you go there and you click on services and you sign up for the Healing Circle. We'll talk more about what I learned today in that Healing Circle. And if you feel led to give into this word, and make sure that you put a note on the seed so I can pray over it. And I love you guys, and I'll talk to you soon. God bless.